What's up, everybody? James Zhang here, back with recession-proof business tips. Today, we're going to be talking about the key to your sales success. This is for you if you're running a sales organization or in any type of sales business position as well too. But I've realized that there's 5 daily methods of operation that we've applied into our business organization that's allowed us to scale worldwide, allowed us to scale a global organization that can also help you as well. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, definitely get down some notes and subscribe here if you have not yet already. But I'm going to be going over a couple of simple things. So Jim Rohn, master trainer, master motivator, said this, that it's around a half a dozen things that you do that make 80% of the difference. In fact, if you've heard of Jim Rohn before, comment Jim below, Jim, comment Jim below. If you haven't, definitely, if you're in business and sales and marketing, you gotta take a look at Jim. So what it comes down to is if you want to have success in any area, especially in your business organization, your sales organization, there's just a couple of things. He says a half dozen things. So we have 5 daily methods of operation that I've realized that if you can implement this into your own business and then scale it into your team, it will lead to massive success. Because something I've realized is with successful people, what they do is they set a large goal. And then from that goal, they think to themselves, what are the daily things that I need to do? If you want to achieve any goal, it's about setting daily habits. If you want to lose weight, it is a compilation of a couple simple habits. For example, you might need to hit the gym, you might need to eat less, you might need to sleep more. So success in anything, including sales, comes down to a couple of very simple things done on a consistent basis. So today I'm going to go over, this took over a decade to realize, a lot of mistakes, and we finally had it click, and it's definitely working very well for us. So I hope it can work for you too. So 5 things of daily methods of operation. Daily methods of operation, you can also abbreviate it as DMO. DMO. These are things that every day are habits. If you do these, regardless of what sales organization you're in, this will duplicate into a massive organization. Today, I'm going to go over the 5. So number one is you want to be able to use and share your product. Use and share your product. In the following conversations, I'll dive deeper into each one of these, but for now, I'll go over an overview. So I've realized that if you want to sell well, while you can learn sales skills and you can learn more marketing and stuff like that, in an organization, the organizations that sell the best are the ones that practice what they preach. We've all heard that saying of you go to a used car salesperson and imagine they're trying to sell you in a Toyota, but they drive out in a Honda. That's kind of weird. There is a lack of integrity right there. The churches that do the best are the ones whose members practice what is being preached on the Sunday sermon. So in your organization, you want to make sure that you are using, number one, you're the product of your own product. So maybe you are in real estate and you're teaching real estate investing, probably wise that you're investing yourself. If you're doing some type of online course, well, and you're selling some type of advertising, for example, you should probably be one of the best advertisers. If you're selling a health and wellness product, you should probably look like somebody that's using the product and actually moving forward in that direction. You're going healthier, right? So it's important that number one, you use the product daily, that you're the best product of the product, because you cannot sell someone on something that you are not sold on yourself. But not only just using the product, but also sharing the product. If you want to have more sales, you must market, you must promote. So every day, don't be an undercover cop with your product, right? So let's say I'm using my product, I have a physical product, I use this every day. I'm not just going to hide under a corner. I'm going to share this on my social media. I'm going to talk to people about it, right? You have to be your number one most convicted, committed salesperson in your organization, because you can only lead people to where you're at. Hope that makes sense. DMO number 1, use and share the products. DMO number 2, post on social media. Post on social media. Now, if you were to talk to me 5 years ago, would this be something that's essential for sales success in an organization? I probably would have told you, if you want to do social media, you can. If you don't, then don't worry about it. But today, it's just COVID changed everything. The world is ever changing. Technology is changing everything. If you're not on social media, you're shooting yourself in the foot. 90+% of my business, 90, almost all my business now actually comes through social media. So you got to be on social media. You got to post on there consistently. Now, you don't have to be some social media guru, but you do have to be present. Why? If you take sales is about people buy from people that they know, they like, and they trust. People buy from people that they know, they like, and they trust. So, how do people know you and like you and trust you? It's a person that's the most present. It's a person that's the most consistent. So, let's say you have two business owners. One is on social, posting consistently. One is not on social at all. The one that shows up the most in the eyes of the prospect will gain trust. And it takes over 10 exposures for someone to finally say yes. So posting on social media is the easiest and free way to be able to get exposure, to be able to gain knowability, likability, and credibility, trustability, if that's even a word. So posting on social media, for example, just posting once a day on your feed, Instagram, Facebook, if you're on TikTok, if you want YouTube, if you want, but just posting on these main platforms to let people know about you. And it's not necessarily about your product, it's not necessarily about your business. It's about you and who you are, your values. They buy you before they buy your product. So posting on your feed, another place to post on your stories. It's important to post on your stories so people can get to know you. Your feed is your place to brand yourself and to add value. Your stories are the place where people can come in and they can get to know you personally. And that's also where, if you want to sell a product, it's a good place where you can even talk about your product. Now you use it as well too. So number 2 DMO is posting on social media. Number 3 DMO is personal development. And I believe this is the X factor for anyone that wants to succeed in any type of entrepreneurial endeavor. Doesn't matter if you're in real estate, network marketing, affiliate marketing, online sales, in-person sales. Your business and your income is capped based on your own personal value. So if you want to make more, then you must become a person of higher value to the marketplace. So how do you do that? Personal development is super key. When I first got into business, I was not much of a person of value to the marketplace. I didn't have much to offer. I didn't know much. I was super unconfident. I was very shy. But what dawned on me is my mentors told me that this business, any business, is simply a compensation plan wrapped around personal development. And it's like an incentivized growth plan. The better you become, the more skilled you become, the more confident you become, the more positive you become, the more loving you become, for example, the more value you're going to add to the marketplace and the more you can get paid. So I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So every day, Jim Rohn said, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So I started listening to the personal development tapes. Back then, it was CDs. I don't know if you remember CDs and everything. I had to buy them. My first personal development CD was $50. It was Jim Rohn's Challenge to Succeed. That was a lot of money for a 19-year-old broke college student. Nowadays, you can go on YouTube and binge personal development for $40.99. So there's no excuse at all, but to be retuning the mind, to turn your car into a mobile classroom, to turn your downtime to maximize your on time, right? So make sure that you can feed your mind with things that are developing your mindset, your skill set, so you can be a more powerful entrepreneur. You can add value to other people's lives. Personal development is huge. So some simple things here. Instead of listening to much music, listen to some type of audio that can help you with what you need to learn. Instead of watching TV, did you know the average person watches TV? That includes Netflix, YouTube, stuff like that. The average person watches 40 hours of television a week. That's crazy. I used to do that. Hello. So instead of spending 40 hours watching your favorite TV show that's rotting your brain, turn that into a time that you can develop your mind. Turn that into time that you can learn a new skill. So start to shift that. When I made those shifts, it completely changed my life. Another thing, turn off the news. Turn off. That was one of the first things I did to completely transform my life. And I was the type that I grew up in a family where we had the news channel on 24/7 through dinner. We woke up to news. We listened to radio news. It'd always be on. And my mentor said, "Why are you listening to news? News, the saying is, if it bleeds, it leads. News, the goal is not to inform you. The goal is to agitate you. The goal is to get you into a certain mind state. News these days is being rather controlled. So turn off the news and reprogram your mind with things that will actually benefit you in the future. Most of the things on the news, you cannot do anything about it. All right, cool. So there's a Chinese spacecraft that was shot down. Awesome. What's that going to do for you in your life? Okay, this person is now in office. Awesome. But what's that going to do actually in your life? None of that typically matters. And if it's big enough, you'll hear about it through other people. So one of the first things I did is I just shut down the news, which was really hard for me to do. And then I realized I was more positive. I realized I felt better. I realized I had so much time in my life. So personal development is DMO number 3. It's a really, really big thing that needs to happen. And appreciate the compliment there. So we're going over the 5 daily methods of operation. If you do this daily, will lead you and your sales organization to massive success. Number 1, use and share the product. Number 2, post on social media. Number 3, personal development. Number 4 is to attend and grow events, especially if you're running a sales organization. It's so important that we build community. Events are so big because if you want to scale your influence, you got to learn the power of group. You got to learn the power of group. You're going to spend 20% of your time on 80% of your people and 80% of your time on 20% of the people. What does that mean? Out of an entire organization, there's usually only a handful of people that really are doing massive productions. Spend some more alone time with them. But for the rest, it's group time. And actually, most people learn better in group than they do one-on-one. Sometimes group is too confrontational. It takes a thick skin. They got to be real, real serious. So get good at attending events, number 1. So most sales organizations, you have training events, you have company events, you have promotional events, you have personal growth events. Maybe you have to sign up for other events. Whatever that it is, the more events you're part of, not only do you glean information, events help you to build belief because you're around other people that are vibrating and performing at a higher level. They also help you to sharpen your skill sets because you're learning what other people are doing. But they also help you to build bonds in communities. It's so important that you're able to go to events because leaders show up. You're not going to be able to make those connections if you don't show up. Early on in my business career, I went to the events. I showed up first. I ended up early. That could be on Zoom these days too. And when you show up over and over and over and over again, what happens is the key players, the influencers, start to notice you. Ed Milet, someone that's worth hundreds of millions, always says this: the best ability is availability. The best ability is availability. So when I didn't have much money, I didn't have much skill, I didn't have much value, I showed up to the events, like coming onto these, whether live or on replay. That's showing up. It does show that you're dedicated. Exactly, right? So it shows them that you're serious and that you're someone that can be invested into. So as I showed up, I remember one day my mentor pulled me to the side. He's like, "Hey, do you want to connect further?" Oh my God, I would love to. And I started to get more one-on-one time. But until you show up to the group, don't expect the one-on-one time. And that's how I've built value with any influencer, right? If you want to build key relationships, just show up to people's stuff, add value, be in the group, type in the chats, follow their stuff, like show up, comment on their posts these days, like their material. Such a big, big thing. So attend events, but also make a goal to grow the events. And I'm glad that you think that it's true. What's going on? So grow the events, especially in a sales organization. Be the best person to actually motivate other people and bring other people to them. What does this do? You see, if you want to extract the most from an event, it's one thing if you're attending yourself and you're extracting yourself. But it's another thing when you're there almost like a leader. You're like a guide, right? If you have some responsibility because you connected other people to this event, this could be a YouTube event, a Zoom event, an in-person event, that shifts your identity now. You're not just attending. You're not just a spectator. You're a player in the game now. This is twofold things. Number one, if they're in your sales organization, it leverages your time. Because if you bring other people to the event with you, someone else is doing the training, someone else is doing the coaching, and it coaches your people for you. But number two, what it also does is it actually helps you internalize the information faster. Because now you're paying attention to the person that you brought. Now you want to make sure you're a good chauffeur. Now you want to make sure you're a good host. So that actually forces you and puts yourself into a leadership position where you're now forced to learn and extract more. And that's the big thing. It helps you to shift. So you want to, number 4, DMO, is you want to attend and you want to grow events. You want to attend and you want to grow events. The last DMO, the last daily method of operation to a successful sales organization is do what's called the pipeline. Do the pipeline consistently. Every business, every organization, whether you're in a church, you're in the army, you're in a business, you're in real estate, you're in network marketing, you're in sales, you're in whatever. Every single organization dating, it comes down to a process of sales called the pipeline. And the pipeline is comprised of a couple of portions. You need to know how to generate a contact. You have to have a list. You then have to know how to qualify that list to see if what you have can actually help them. You then have to invite them to set up an appointment. You then set up an appointment to have them see some type of presentation. You then have to follow up, answer questions, and determine if this is for them or not. Dating analogy. All right, same thing. If you want to find the love of your life, or maybe you're in the love of your life, or maybe you just got out of one. So heart goes out to you. No worries. The right one's out there if that's what you're looking for. So a couple things. Before you were dating, before me and my wife got married, for example, this is how it started. My wife, before we even thought about dating, she had to start as a contact. So my wife, Becky, she was actually my UC Berkeley classmate. We were in the same biology major. And guess what? We connected through a class. Now, I'm like, all right, cool. I actually connected with her at first through a business relationship. Later on, it was a later relationship. But let's just use a romantic situation. I had to make sure before we started dating each other, or even considering that she was qualified and I was qualified. So I was out of a relationship. She was out of a relationship. Cool. Yeah, it was awesome. So we're both on the market now, right? You cannot present to someone that does not have a need. If you want to sell something to someone, let's say I have a weight loss product and they don't want to lose weight, they're not qualified, right? If they're not looking for a business opportunity, I'm not going to sell them an opportunity, right? So my wife, who was not taken at the time, was open. I was open. Okay, cool. Contact, right? And then from there, I had to qualify. She's qualified. And then I had to invite. I had to ask her out. So one day, after a business meeting, she was actually my top leader in my business before we started dating. I asked her to go to Elephant Bar. Super awkward, very, very awkward. But hey, you want to come grab a bite after this meeting? So we went to a meeting together. And all right, we're at the appointment, so to speak. I invited. And then you have to have a presentation. And I presented to her in the least romantic way ever. It was ladies, don't judge me on this. This would not be featured on a movie. It was so bad. But literally, I had a notebook, I had a business notebook, and I wrote down 14 points of things I was looking for in a significant other. And it was the most awkward pitch ever. But basically, I told wasn't my wife, but my now wife, I'm like, so I have these 14 points, and you fulfill 13 of the 14. I'm not going to pursue, but if you're interested, maybe we could do something, right? It was like so bad. I'm embarrassed. And she responded how any woman would respond. And she said, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, oh my gosh, I failed it. But you know what happened? I did the presentation. True story. And then I followed up. So I followed up. The next week, we followed up. We connected again. And guess what? After that follow-up, we then spent pretty much every single day together. I proposed to her on our convention stage 9 months in. We got married legally 6 months in, and around a year and a half after that, we did our ceremony and everything. So it all worked out. So number 5, daily method of operation in any sales organization, you must do the pipeline. That's ultimately the job of any business. You must show what your value is to more people. But if you do these 5 things in any sales organization, this will duplicate. This will scale. This will lead to a thriving. This is what led our organization called the Warrior Movement to thrive all over the world. And now our organization, I'm in California, but we now have partners in Australia, in Taiwan, in Mexico, in all over North America, Europe. And we all run this very same system. And they do the same thing every single day. And anyone that does this achieves success and they start to grow. And you can apply this into any organization that there is as well too. So to recap, 5 daily methods of operation for sales success. Number 1, use and share your product. Number 2, post on social media. Number 3, personal development. Number 4, attend and grow events. And number 5, do the pipeline. You do these 5 things, you're going to scale. That'll be the 80%, the 20% that leads to 80% of the difference. So I wonder what you think about this. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments below. Side note, if you're looking for a recession-proof business opportunity, I am actually in the phase right now of expanding the Warrior Movement family. I show people how to make money in a simple, fun way through their phone from anywhere in the world. We train, we do everything. We'll show you exactly what it is that we do here. If you're interested in that, you're in a stage of your life, you're open for that, take a look in my bio, and I have a form called Work With Me. Fill that out, give me your information, and I'd love to reach out and let's connect. I'll share with you what it is we got going on. Could be for you, maybe it's not for you, but hey, it's cool. Closed minds cost fortune, so fill that out. But if you're not subscribed yet, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube. And tune in with me on the next days. I'm going to go deeper dive into the 5 daily methods of operation. And I hope this will bless you and your sales organization. Other than that, everyone, stay blessed. We'll talk with you all soon.